The member for Cook-Tantramar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Please rise today to speak to an act to amend the New Brunswick Income Tax Act. And I think that the reintroduction of the tuition tax credit needs to be understood as part of a policy package around post-secondary education funding. And so, as I speak to this, if I were speaking to this as a standalone policy, I think it's fine. It helps grads with this type of policy, and I understand that yes, students who took advantage of this had incomes below $50,000, and that makes sense for where they're at in their lives for students to be able to take advantage of that. However, the tuition tax credit being reintroduced, research has consistently shown that education tax credits do tend to disproportionately benefit higher income households, higher income earners. I do understand that many of the students who took advantage did have lower incomes, and again, as I said, that makes sense for what it is. However, this needs to be understood in the context of the other policies that have changed around funding students' post-secondary education. So as I said, as a standalone policy, fine, but this is being done instead of other things. This is being done instead of the timely completion benefit. And this is also in the context of changing and eliminating the free tuition program, tuition relief for the middle class, and bringing in the renewed tuition bursary program. And so as a result, students will be getting less upfront funding to help pay for their education, cover their tuition costs. They're going to have higher levels of debt. And New Brunswick students already are carrying the highest levels of debt in the country, with an average level of debt of $35,200, which is quite a bit of money for students leaving school and then trying to enter the workplace and being saddled with debt. And as a result, unfortunately, many students who are financial aid recipients that take on debt, they regret taking on that debt. So we're creating a policy environment where students are going to be are feeling discouraged about taking on large amounts of debt and attending post-secondary education institutions. And this is in the context as well of a severe labor shortage that we are already experiencing and will only get worse. So we need to be making post-secondary education more accessible up front, and not just having the tuition tax credit at the end. I think if this was being added on in addition to the other programs that were already in place and having those be improved, then that would be really great. The student, I've spoken with the leaders of the Mount Allison Students' Union, New Brunswick Student Alliance. They're firmly opposed to all of the changes made because this is not what they were asking for. Je sais que FECUM aussi est opposé. Basically, what they would have liked in terms of debt relief is New Brunswick debt relief program, improvements upon what was the timely completion benefit. Take a program like that, make it better, make it run better, rather than the tuition tax credit. That's not what students were asking for. So, as I said, this needs to be understood in that context, and some of the priorities we need to have, in addition to making sure that we are training the youth and adults who want to further their careers, participate in the workforce through the education they need at the post-secondary level. We have made, the government has made through these decisions, made access more difficult to post-secondary education institutions. So non-traditional and underrepresented students and students who just don't have the level of income they need to enter into university are now being discouraged. There are students I've heard from who will be unable to continue their post-secondary education. So on its own, a tuition tax credit, okay, that's not a bad idea, but having it instead of a timely completion benefit in the context of having higher debt by the end of the students' post-secondary education careers is not a great idea. So I look forward to having the chance to learn more in committee. We're learning more and more details as we go, and I hope that there will be consideration of listening to what the students are saying they need and how to make post-secondary education more accessible for everyone in the province. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.